good morning, everyone. I would like to wish you a big welcome here in Zagreb, from where I'm joining in. We are having a really nice day, wonderful weather. I hope that the rest of Europe is also entering spring in a big way. Thank you so much for your interest and for participating at this mini webinar of the European Rewilding Network. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, allow me to say a few words about the European Rewilding Network, or the ERN for short, as we call it. So ERN is basically a networking tool of Rewilding Europe, and it's not only a virtual network, but a functional community of already 77 rewilding initiatives, which are spanning 27 European countries. We see ERN as a platform for exchange of knowledge, ideas, best practices, and also for having constructive discussions between member initiatives, constructive dialogues about rewilding in practice. We exchange challenges that we are facing, lessons learned, coming opportunities, and much more. The purpose of these mini webinars, called the Rewilding Intros, is to provide our members the opportunity to share their stories, their achievements, their challenges with other members of the ERN, but also with a wider audience. Rewilding Intros are the only ERN events open to public, except life-funded initiatives that are also publicly presented. While last time we went to the Netherlands and spoke about the Maashorst, today we are taking you on a virtual trip to Portugal, in which you will hear about the work of Quinta de Pisão Nature Park. I would like to wish a big warm welcome to our valued speaker, João Cardoso de Melo, who is the head of Quinta de Pisão Nature Park and Ecological Infrastructure Management Director at Ambiente Cascais, a municipal company. João, thank you so much for being with us today and for telling us how you and your team managed to transform abandoned patch of agricultural land in Portugal into a fully functional nature park. Before we start, and before I give you the word, João, I just want to tell you a little bit about our virtual environment. As you know, this is a webinar, so your audio and video are disabled. However, you will be able to post your questions even during the presentation. You're welcome to do so in the Q&A box. And once João is done with his presentation, we will have a short Q&A section where we will do our best to answer your questions. In case you're experiencing any problems with sound, this problem is going to be resolved if you join us via a Zoom link instead of the Eventbrite link. And also, just for you to know, this webinar is being recorded and it is going to be shared on Rewilding Europe's YouTube account somewhere early next week. Well, thank you for your patience. And João, I would like to hand over the words to you.
Hi, thanks, May. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to present our work and exchange experiences and have some feedback from all colleagues and rewilders of Europe all around. So I will start to share my presentation. So I said, thank you very much. I will run this presentation. Probably a lot of questions will be at the end, so please take some notes, and I will be at the end willing to answer them as possible. So first of all, for those who don't visit Portugal yet, where we are, it's a coastal town quite near from Lisbon, a very quite urban and area and touristic area. You can see here where we are situated. 1/3 of municipality, it's a nature park and Natura 2000 area, and we are in the buffer zone of UNESCO landscape from Sintra Mountains. So you can see it's a quite populated municipality, and we are talking about the restoration of 380 hectares right in the nature park with a lot of habitats and species, and a park who actually suffer pressure from tourism activities and recreation. A little bit of information regarding the geography. So we are on the southern part of Sintra Mountains. These Sintra Mountains reach from the 0 to 500 meters high. It's a west wind orientated would give us some characteristics regarding the weather, and also the geology. It's from clay to granite on the top. And as you see there, Cabo de Roca, the eastern part of Europe. So we get low temperatures during the winter, and well, now the temperatures on the summer are rising. We usually get 30, 32 degrees, but on the top of the mountain, it will be Atlantic climate. So it's kind of a small area, but with a very distinct and different kind of climatology. On the bottom, you see the foreign effects, and this is particularly an important aspect because it gives us quite distinct characteristics regarding the wind and the moisture. And the wind, it's a factor that we'll speak further on regarding problems like fire and the kind of vegetation we can have. In terms of facts and features for animals and species, endangered species and habitats, so you will have 222 animals well registered, and in terms of threatened habitats, you can see we have 27. 9 of them are threatened, and species it's 34. So we still have a lot of work to do regarding species and habitats restoration. So when did it started? And this is quite interesting, especially because the park was a presidium. It worked as a panel colony in the 50s. As you can see here, some of the pictures of the people working on the fields guarded by the policemen. So we are talking of a land, it was abandoned, it was a no-go land for the community, and it's related to a dark past. And so the challenge was to open this park and open and give it a possibility, not only for nature, because nature was always there, but help nature to reestablish the balance and naturally open it also to visitors and to people, so they can get the knowledge of the values and to enjoy the possibility of contact with nature. So it's not only about nature protected areas and habitat and Natura 2000, it's also about reactivating the land, reactivating the farm, and all the issues regarding with habitat, species, and some agriculture. So this land was abandoned in the 50s. Well, with the EU, when Portugal entered the European economical area, all the farming activities was suspended, and that allows some of the habitats to restore naturally, but others were quite degraded regarding the fact that we have issues with fires and invasive species that we'll speak later on. But in the kind of resume, the farming activities here were to reestablish some of the areas in terms of habitats for birds of prey, and establish the meadows, natural meadows that were important for grazing, to introduce the natural grazing, as we did already with sheep and donkeys and horses. So besides this aspect of habitat management, very passive habitat management, we also restore the activity regarding the farming operations as a way to engage with the public, like the pick your own crop, that allows people to go in the park with the motive and then find out the treasures we have in the park. Regarding nature and biodiversity, so this is the area mainly. So we definitely started to do this kind of, we call it passive interventions in the area. So the area was used for many kind of activities like illegal dumping, low-fly zone for helicopters and planes, you know, car racings, rave parties, whatsoever. So at the beginning, we have to establish the domain and establish some tranquility in the area, so nature can gradually came back. And when we just started to do so, and we start also to monitor, we identify about 124 species, and especially some butterflies that actually have kind of rapid response in habitat change. And the main actions started was introducing the natural grazing, and of course, unfortunately, controlling invasive species, some of the areas we have, and also to the conversion of forest of pines and eucalyptus into native forest, sorry. And naturally, we will also work with volunteers, around almost 2,000 volunteers each year are working directly in the park with a lot of actions we promote in terms of nature conservation. This is a kind of vegetation distribution, so natural meadows right there on the center of the park. And then you can see scrubland dominated the landscape, mainly because of the fires we have in the past. Some pine forests and oak forests, Portuguese oak mainly, and then the olive trees in some of the areas also. As you can see, agriculture represents only 6.2 hectares. It's almost 2% of the area. So in terms of active management, we take a very passive approach in very particular areas, and we are talking about mainly invasive species. It takes us a lot of time. So in terms of natural grazing, you see we have this kind of parks. So you see the sheep maintain the natural meadows, and this is quite important to have this open area with about 50 hectares. It's important for birds of prey. But then the horses, the donkeys are in the fence with 120 hectares. And we just started this year with the horses. The donkeys were already there to open the scrubland, and they are free, and no kind of management is made in these areas. So hopefully in the long term, these horses and donkeys, Soraya horses and Miranda donkeys, will have a huge impact in transforming the actual landscape in a more equilibrium ecosystem. It's mainly made of scrubland, and we will have some inputs to allow the donkeys and the horses to go deep on the plot. But then we'll speak this later on. And of course, we are starting also with a funding group of roe deers. We have some issues with regulations in Portugal regarding the roe deer. Now we are just starting to have a small group, and then the idea is to free them in the rest of the park. So all these three players, the horses, the donkeys, and the roe deers, will work in the team. And as you all know, they have as browsers, and the horses can be also a grazer, will work in management, the vegetation, especially with wildfire risks we have in this landscape. Also, some goats, we will work in other plots in a different model. All of these are native species and well adapted to the region. And this is a pilot project that we will try to implement and then scale up to other areas. So in terms of very quick, in terms of habitats, we identify the more important ones: the thermo-Mediterranean scrubs, semi-natural and dry grass and scrubland. And the important are the Festuca brontalia, where we have a lot of orchids. And then we will try to use also and we will monitor this, the horse and the donkeys and the impact they will have, open up the scrubland and to allow this kind of natural habitat and orchids to come along. And of course, some other species we have, not like the lesser horseshoe bat. It's quite interesting, and also the horned viper. So we are all the time looking and finding new species there that come, and this shows that the balance are being restituted to the landscape. Actually, birds are also, especially migrating birds, are coming more often, and we think that they are being used. The farm is being used, or the park it's being used for these migratory birds to use it at the feeding stations or to pass by. In terms of carnivores, not very different from the rest of areas. Fox, last weasel, badger, genets, and the mongoose that in some parts can be a problem. And we monitor also this kind of frequency presence of the carnivorous. In terms of management, we do have to have this kind of activities regarding the fact, as I mentioned before, the problems we have with invasive species and wildfire risk. And of course, we have to push nature a little bit. So in the future, they will do the job just by itself. So these are some of the examples of actions we do along the year. For instance, we are installing next boxes for birds, especially because now, since the 3 years, we have this plague with spongy moth that attack all the oak family. So we have to tangle with this problem. So this is kind of operations we cannot ignore. And it's amazing when this moth outbreak attacks all the forest, and you see 60 hectares of oak trees without the leaves. So it's kind of crazy. Maybe we suppose it's also a question of climate change that is creating new kind of cycles of reproduction of these species. So in terms of habitat restorations, as I said, we are converting eucalyptus and taking down the acacia, and also using prescribed fire in a way to open up the scrubland. Then in the future, these activities will end, and in the long term, just the donkeys and the horses and the road deers will be the natural players to achieve the equilibrium we want to do so for those areas. One of the aspects also is regarding small rivers we have. So we do have a team of biologists who also work in the rivers, and we identify some of the species that are critical endangered. So naturally we wanted to preserve them, and very recently we kind of create a reserve population to safeguard the fact that sometimes these rivers suffer issues like dry or pollution, and then we have a safe population to reintroduce if needed. And now, of course, monitoring, it's one of our biggest tasks. And besides the horses and the donkeys, we do monitor butterflies, eptofauna, birds, camel trapping. And of course, we wanted also to learn a little bit more about the population of rabbit and partridges because of the importance they have in predators. Bats, it's also some of the challenge we will have in the future. And regarding the horses, and by the fact we are in a very populated area, and also regarding the other experience of rewilding with horses, we need data relating the fact of body condition, how the animals are working, and if they are health and safety issues. And that's why we are working with this monitoring. Also movements and behavior, it's important. They have GPS collars, so we will understand where they are, and they will monitor the impact on the habitats and try to see the effects of the megafauna in the vegetation. Besides nature and biodiversity, I will speak now regarding all other aspects around the nature park. So this is one of the images. So the farm itself, it's not the intention of being a farm. It's not to be a profitable farm, but of course we need to identify financing opportunities to gain sustainability of the operation. Although farming activity here, it's mainly for habitat management, and a lot of species will be empowered by some of the measures we have here. So we have sheep to maintain the 50 hectares of meadows, and we produce we have a vegetable garden where we produce vegetables, of course, but also we produce and work with social communities to produce jam and chutneys and many other products. And this is a way to engage with the community. So people come to the park and then find out and learn about organic food, seasonal food, and the impact the park can have when working with social partnerships, and the fact that we can empower these people and link the community, the park, and the visitors. So this is one of the aspects we also since the beginning we try to empower and not only looking for the direct profits, but indirect profits in the way that people understand the impact of nature conservation in all the community in and around. So in terms of health and social benefits, well, it is an open park and people can visit it for free. They can enjoy and they can enjoy all kind of activities we organize in the park, all of them related to nature, and try all the time to make this link with the importance of learning new traditional techniques, enjoying and learn the impact of the role of the donkeys in the landscape, and the new players they can be now in the park, and the fact that they can also enjoy and walking when they go to the vegetable garden to pick their products and meet other people and exchange recipes and exchange the products itself. And it is a very, very interesting feedback we receive from the visitors. And of course, all the programs we have related with schools and organized for general public to come along and to enjoy the park and get to know with all the dimensions regarding to nature conservation. So you can bird watching, but then you can learn how to draw nature or to paint the landscape. This kind of link, it's also opportunity to motivate people and to gain awareness about the opportunity they have in this area. We also work with beekeepers, and we provide opportunities for people to learn and to engage with the beehive and extract the honey, and then they can take the honey home. So this is kind of opportunities we can have to show the importance of bees in the whole food system. And of course, there's the pollinators. Some of the areas we also restored, and this is also important, the historical aspect and cultural heritage. So we have interpretation center. It was an old warehouse. Now it's a place where visitors can come along and give some information. And this is also important regarding the number of visitors we are receiving. So some of the areas are more organized to receive the public, and other areas are more kind of abandoned or not so signed. So people have more difficult to get there, and that allows to have a balance between very visited places and more quiet and calm areas where impacts can be mitigated, and we have all the time more calm and restrict areas in the park. And this is why when we organize this kind of visitors experience, we have to identify what kind of opportunities we have. Some of them are concentrated in some of the area with we have the interpretation center, and other areas are more related to nature observation, and then they are more quiet and specific places to visit. So we now identify that people come here often. So we are very peri-urban area. So we have daily visitors who come along just for a walk. But then, of course, we have families group or bird watchers who come along to see what's happening every week. And time to time, we have a May festival where we invite all the community to come along and enjoy spring. And there's a picture of a theater where they also work with the donkey. So it's kind of all the time looking for opportunities to link the community. And then we link with nature, with the park, and show new rules or new opportunities to engage with the ecosystems. So now we are scaling up. So since 2010-11, we work in the Quinta do Pisão and side by side with many other sites. But now we are trying to scale up, and this, when I mean scale up, it's to look at the landscape as a whole. And this landscape plan, it will allow us to manage about 2,300 hectares. Regardless of the fact that we had, as I told you before, fire risk problems. In 2018, we had a huge fire that comes right from the top of the mountain to the dunes, and it raised the alarm of the fact that we actually need to control some of the aspects and to learn a little bit more about the fire risks. So now we are trying to engage with the private owners and to tackle the issue together as a community, and to try to create new opportunities for ecosystems to naturally be restored. So this is Pisão, it's the pink area, and all the rest, it's the landscape plan we are working. So the principle is to scale up the projects and the ideas and bring it and apply them to the rest of the area. These are some of the pictures. As I told you, the fire in 2018 started right on the top. It started at 11:30 p.m. so during the night. So it's kind of suspicious. And at 2 a.m. was already here in the dunes, because the fire, it's one of the drivers. The wind, it's one of the drivers that push the fires on the landscape. So we have white dunes, gray dunes, shrubland, these kind of coastal areas with granites. Then we have the mountains, granite blocks with a monastery on the top, kind of monastery. Then you will get, with the fauna effect, you will get this kind of woods, and coming down again, granite, and then the meadows in the Pisão. So this is kind of a scenario that we would like to implement. So the idea was to try to identify what kind of models, management models, could be applied so we can reduce the fire risk, and in the future, how can they be more sustainable in terms of low intervention. And that's why we started to work with natural grazing and with the horses and stuff. So this is kind of history of fires. As you can see, we went back there until the 70s, but this map only shows from the 90s, the burn areas. And you can see in terms of fire recurrency, you can see some of the areas have already burned 5 times or 4 times and 6 times. And this is one of the issues you can be naive saying, oh, the fire will happen. So the fire will happen, definitely. It's part of our kind of the landscape itself. What we would like to do, it's this fire to be not so intense and not such huge areas, and create opportunities regarding these management models. So this naturally the fires be accepted by the landscape. But because in fact, in some areas, the fire, and in small patches, the fire can be nice for biodiversity. but as you can see, there's a lot of people living in this area, and it's a very touristic area. So you have to have this kind of conscience. So we identified a few concept models that we already use in Pisão, and now we will try to implement it in the long term in the old landscape. So this is one of the pictures. Down there you see the Guincho beach and the dunes. So the fire went down there, 485 hectares so ever. And fortunately now we have on the top already in 60 hectares in the Peninha. We have already, well, we had 6, now we have 7 Granus horses. These horses are from the northern part of Portugal. They are ponies, they are mountain horses, and they are perfectly rewilding process. So they have no kind of management. And actually, last week, a newborn with a new landscape, and he is having a nice day. Well, not today, it's cloudy, but they are very, very healthy and fulfilling our objectives in rewilding this area. And of course, besides the horses, we naturally have to work in river restorations, mainly regarding the fact we have river corridors along the mountain with problems with the fires. All the riparian gallery is destroyed. So to conclude, my opinion, it's plan ahead. I think it's take time to implement this projects. It's all the time thinking, doing, evaluate and do it again if possible, and try to find the best way. Getting political commitment for my perspective, as I am working for a municipal company, it's quite important to bring the politicians and give them the best vision of the future. And this is quite important, especially for funding. And of course, collecting data, it's efforts that we have to do, because data will allow us to evaluate ourselves and to show the results to any other partners. And one very important thing is to build your own team, people with passion for nature. And if you have a project for long term, you need people who really know and are available and like to put hands on the job. So this is a working team, and all the process take passionate people, as I said. And of course, the community, it's quite important for you, because they will empower your work in the older community. And if you want to apply for funding, and if you want to have a political commitment, the local community, it's quite important to empower your job and to make it easier to get funding and get more support. So thank you very much for having me this time. I try to control more or less 15 minutes, and I'm available for any kind of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, João, for this wonderful presentation. We are a bit over our time, but João has prepared a video that we want to show you. So
yeah.
A little bit better impression of the area and what he spoke about. So before we get into the Q&A session, just 2 minutes of your time for the video. João, I can't hear the sound of the video.
No.
Let me try from my side, okay?
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yep. Hope it's going to work now. And we're back. I hope you enjoyed the video. I personally really did. Let us go to the Q&A just because we are a little bit out of time. There's one anonymous question. I'm going to read it through. Hi, can you please say again what species occupies the meadows? Is it sheep or horses? If it is mainly sheep, why not horses? And why are there so few wild herbivores like roe deer compared to the number of domestic herbivores?
Yeah, we do have, we started with the sheep. So in the meadows, we keep them sheep as grazers. And we did have horses there, but we prefer them to have them in the other kind of meadow, mixed meadows with woods. And it's a kind of, the sheep are mainly grazers and the horses are grazers, but also browsers. So we use this kind of ability from the horses also in that particular area. And it's an option we made. And also regarding the fact that we have 150 sheep, and so we pass them around the parks of the 50 hectares. So we need a balance between the food supply, and the impact the sheep have, or all the kind of behavior you have in the pastures. Regarding the roe deers, we just started now. There's regulations in Portugal that don't allow us to free the roe deers naturally, so we need to raise fences, and we are not just working with started with a small population, and as soon as we can naturally they procreate themselves, then we gradually will introduce them in the huge park. In September, we will try to get another 2 roe deers, and that will be the first group to use them. Let me see if there's any. Okay, I think this was the first one. Yeah.
Then there's another question from Paul Happel. He says, "Hello, João. Thanks for the interesting presentation. I noticed that these type of rewilding projects often happen in abandoned agricultural areas. So I was wondering how these of projects could be implemented in regions with more intensely used agricultural areas, e.g. in the Netherlands, as a way to create a more nature-inclusive agriculture. Do you have any example or ideas of how to effectively harmonize rewilding principles with agriculture without leading to a conflict between rewilders and farmers?" Oh, that's a difficult question. A very good one.
Yeah, it is, and that's one of the issues we are trying to work when we are scaling up. We are working on a concept of agroecology, so you can actually have access to food products from wild beers, fruits, not necessary to formalize the landscape in farming plots. So this is one of the issues, and of course it's you think people think there's a conflict between farmers and people in nature conservation, and Pisão can show you that they can work together and complementary in itself. Just the fact that a lot of species depending on farming activities, of low intensity farming activities, of course. And I know that in Netherlands that this is a big issue, and because there's a lot of intensive farming, but I don't really have a solution. It depends on side by side, and the potential of other opportunities for farming. So I think the community have to be more engaged and understand the impact of intensive agriculture in their own safety issues. So this is one of the facts that we have the vegetable garden. It's the impact people learn that nature organic products are healthier for their daily basis, and there are good products, and then they make the link with nature, and it is a good way of spreading the word that agriculture not necessarily bad for nature conservation. Sorry, I don't have a solution, but yeah.
There's a question from Julia. Thank you For a great talk. Your explanation of the fire dynamics in the landscape was very interesting. Do you have any preliminary results on how having the rewilded herbivores has changed the fires?
Yeah, unfortunately, not yet. It is one of the challenges we have for the next years. So we noticed that the fire recurrency is shrinking from 6 years to 4 years. And this is mainly, we think, with climate change, and of course, with in some areas the lack of management, and the fire persistence has changed already the vegetation type. So in some of the areas, the climax will never be targeted, and this is one of the issues we will try now to monitor, if in fact the herbivorous role in the landscape will maintain the 6 years period of recurrency and reduce the impact in terms of dimension in intensity of the fires. That will be a project for the next years or so.
Question from, this is the last question we're going to take because we need to finish the webinar. The question comes from Cecilia Lindstrom. Hi, João, thank you for this inspiring presentation. Perhaps somewhat unrelated, but I wonder if you can see some of these principles of rewilding in more urbanized and populated areas to make our cities and villages more sustainable and its people more connected to nature.
Yeah, I think this is one of the challenges we have. So you see there's Cascais, it's a very touristic place, 210,000 inhabitants, and we receive a lot of visitors from Lisbon and Sintra. And so I think our challenge to show up that in fact nature can be right on our back door, and it's not impossible to have wild animals and living in nature. And so this is quite urbanized area, peri-urban area, but it's very intense frequency of people in the woods, in the parks. And I think it's also opportunity to explain and change the mentality of people, because urban people are not, they forget how to behave when they go to the countryside, when they go to the forest. So they expect to have all kind of services they have in the shopping center or something. And for us, this is also one of the challenges, to do a rewilding process right in such a peri-urban area. It's an inspiring process, hopefully for many other countries or cities that have this challenge and opportunity to do so. Yeah, but I agree with you. It's a challenge for the future also.
Quinta de Pisão is a good example because it's really next to Lisbon.
Yes.
So
yes.
How urban and rewilding can come together. João, thank you so much for everything today and for your fantastic presentation. And if you have any more questions, I have put, João, your email in the chat box so people can contact you directly. I have also put my email here in the chat box, and the link to the European Rewilding Network at Rewilding Europe, in case there is anyone who has a rewilding initiative and is interested in nominating their initiative to join our network. This is Sarah King from Rewilding Britain Network saying thank you for the great presentation as well. Yes, there's going to be a recording available on the YouTube channel of Rewilding Europe early next week. So you will be able to stream it and share it from there. I would like to wish everyone a great Friday, great rest of the day, and a nice weekend ahead. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.